British Hope, the Isle of Man Iron Man, and the fastest moustache since Errol Flynn. Friends, relatives and well-wishers had gathered in some numbers. It was hoped that the last Grand Prix at Brands Hatch would see the first British winning driver in 10 years. Piquet got the pole, but Mansell started in a second spot that looked strategically promising until all those fine hopes seemed to crumble along with his drive shaft. This paled, however, beside Boutsen's excursion into the Armco, from which he rebounded to the consternation of every car behind him. Some of the cars never got moving again, but all the drivers were okay except one, Lafitte. Jonathan Palmer, a doctor, commendably went to help Lafitte, who could move a hand but not his legs. In one of those correct, prompt and efficiently carried out decisions which make Brands such a relief after circuits where they can't put out a fire until it's almost over, the race was stopped. It would be at least half an hour before it could restart. Mansell is too nice a man to have been happy in the middle of Lafitte's anguish, but the fact was that he had been given a second chance, because before the race started again there would be time to take over Piquet's spare car. The front of Lafitte's car gave a persuasive hint that his injuries were not light. Piquet took it as easy as an old hand can when the law of averages bangs its gavel. Lafitte was taken to hospital with smashed legs. Decently quiet, the crowd could be forgiven for surmising that Lafitte's ill wind had blown Nigel good. At the restart, the now wide-awake Piquet scorched off into the lead with renewed ferocity, determined to put Mansell in his place, which the Brazilian regarded as being second at the very most. The South American press had been saying that the Williams-Honda team was now favouring Mansell, but it is possible that Piquet had not only read this, but believed it. Anyway, Piquet was in a bad mood, which is not good for the judgment. Mansell had Berger's Benetton, Senna's Lotus and both McLarens after him, but he was determined to drive his own race and showed no signs of panic even when Berger took second spot. Fabi in the other Benetton tried to get past Prost, but the Frenchman wasn't having any. They were all squeezed up at the front and ready to swap if anything popped. The Benetton BMW was fast, but the Williams Honda had that vital notch of boost in reserve. Without bending anything except Berger's ego, Mansell took second place back and set off after Piquet. Stymied by a broken gearbox, Rosberg climbed out to smoke an early Marlboro. Sorry, McLaren. Mansell was breathing down Piquet's neck. It isn't like the Brazilian to lose his nerve, but he might have lost his temper. He might even have missed a gear. Anyway, the local boy went by into first place. Stopping to change wheels, Senna could do nothing about his gear stick, which sometimes selected third and sometimes BBC 2. A lap later, he retired. Piquet's crew changed the wheels quickly enough to keep him in second place. Sliding into the same pit like a hot bunking sailor into a recently vacated hammock, Mansell was off the jacks and away again just fast enough to stay ahead of Piquet in first place. Arriving on the scene just after Mansell left the pits, Piquet went around the lap strip and up the hill like a burglar, hoping to catch Mansell before the British Hope's new tyres played themselves in. Beneath the British helmet, his upper lip stiff, his teeth gritted and his moustache bristling, even though squashed flat by his balaclava, Mansell had nothing to ward Piquet off with except sheer skill. Piquet had another chance to nail Mansell between Paddock and Druids, but a lap-back marker got in the way. Patrese and the old model Brabham had got quite near the finish before conking out, so Bernie and Gordon had something to evaluate. Mansell's tyres warmed up just soon enough for him to keep Piquet at sword's length, but the crucial few laps it took Piquet to decide what the hell, it wasn't Rio. Whoever heard of Brands Hatch? Just quietly as always, Prost made a second pit stop from which he continued into a useful third position. He had lost top spot in the World Championship, but not by as much as he might have, and the future still stretched ahead. For the present, though, Mansell had arrived. Mansell had not only won on his home ground, he was leading the World Championship for the first time. And he had done all this in a car borrowed from Piquet, who was less than thrilled, or so the delighted press strove to have the world believe. They gave Nigel a really nice vase.